your way, we'll combine items 1 through 3 together, noting our apology for Chris for declarations of interest, a reminder to members to keep their registers of interest up to date, and let our management team know if you've had any amendments, and they from time to time check in with you to review that, and also a confirmation of minutes. I will move the resolution for items 1 to 3. I ask Tony to second that resolution.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you, Tony. All those in favour, say aye or thumbs up or nod.
No.
I can see that. Thank you all. That's passed. That takes us to item 4, COVID-19 update. And kia ora, Lee.
Kia ora, Paul. Kia ora, members. So this paper is to update members on the actions that we've taken as we've moved into COVID alert levels 4 and then 3 last week. So in alert level 4, effectively, majority of services on the Maunga are stopped. The Maunga are closed to vehicle access, but of course people could still use them recreationally by foot. We had very limited services operating at that time, just fire breaks and security services and litter were running during the course of alert level 4. As we moved into alert level 3 last week, a whole number of services were able to resume, including our pest control services, sports fields renovations, our capital works program recommencing. It's important to note that as we've moved into each of these alert levels, for those contractors that are still operating, that management have reviewed all of their COVID alert level plans to make sure that they're in keeping with government guidance, and those were signed off before contractors were able to return to the Maunga. I'm happy to take any questions.
Kia ora, Lee, and to firstly acknowledge our team for the sterling mahi in terms of keeping our communities safe and working with all the relevant regulatory agencies during that period. Certainly learned those experiences from last year in terms of the protocols in place, and as we've seen in some of the media commentary, the importance of the Tūpuna Maunga to the people of Tamaki Makaurau in terms of local communities having safe spaces to be together during a very stressful and challenging time for the whānau. So I just want to acknowledge that work. So we'll open it up for any discussion. Kia ora, Tony.
Kia ora, Chair. Lee, thank you for that. Just a really quick question. I hadn't thought about it before. Have all our plantings been okay through this? There's a lot more people on the Maunga, people doing things they shouldn't be doing, like biking, you know, off tracks and things like that. Are our new plants still doing okay? Do you know?
Well, we unfortunately our staff have to stay in their own bubbles through the course of this. Through the course of these alert levels, but what we do have is we have had our full facilities contractors out through the course of this time, and they've kind of been our eyes and ears on the ground while we've all been in lockdown. There hasn't been any significant issues noted in terms of the planting. You'll hear later in the session on what sort of happened in terms of the planting program, which we didn't quite get to finish, but we have heard of other sort of incidents and things happening across the Maunga, which has meant that we've put out a bit of a information campaign to people so that they could, you know, understand the significance of the Maunga a bit better and why it was important to sort of respect it. So we've been looking at comms and other things that we could do while we were in our bubbles through this time.
Okay, kia ora, Lee, thanks.
Any other discussion? I'm happy to move the paper, and if I can ask Kathy to second the paper, please.
Yep.
Yes, thank you. All those in favour signify in the appropriate way, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Kia ora. Thank you.
Aye.
That resolution's passed. Takes us to item 5, Northern School Cycling Tour and North Shore Marathon event permits. Kia ora, Brooke.
Kia ora koutou. With this paper, I'm just looking to gain a decision for granting a multi-year permit for 2 events, and those events are the Northern School Cycling Tour, which is held on Maunga Day, as well as the North Shore Marathon, which is held on Maunga Weka. We have had applications from them for several years, which have all been approved except for the last 2 years because they've been cancelled due to COVID. But in the years that they have gone ahead, we've had good experiences with them. We've reviewed their proposal and we don't have any concerns. All the possible impacts appear to be well mitigated. But just to note that even if they are granted a multi-year permit, we'll still continue to work with them every year to manage when it's going to take place and to administer and monitor it. Thank you.
Kia ora, Brooke. Thank you for that. And to note, as we're seeing more of these 5-year permits come to the authority for decision making, the feedback that I've had is for those ones that have been granted, they're very much appreciated. The permit holders appreciate that this is a new dimension to the authority's approach, especially where we have activities like these ones where there is a very good track record of undertaking the activities in a way that's consistent with the values of the Tūpuna Maunga, and it reduces some of the admin for our team in terms of year in, year out running these through the process again. So it's a good management response and appreciate the work that the authority management does on this. So just open up for any discussion or questions. Good as Aileen.
Good, Mr. Chair. I guess I wonder, why is there such an attraction to having such events at our maunga? Is it just because they can cycle downhill real fast, or what? Or is it, are they going uphill? I don't know much about it, I'm afraid, sorry.
Yep, so the Northern School Cycling Tour, their tour isn't just on the Maunga, but they just do the uphill component on the Maunga. So yep, definitely related to the fact it's a hill. Similarly, the marathon goes all around the peninsula and it's just a small section of it which goes onto the Maunga, but no infrastructure.
Okay, thanks.
Good as Aileen. Any other discussion? And Aileen's point is a good reminder, and as Brooke touched on, all these permits come with conditions, quite a few conditions, especially in terms of no activities on soil or the like. They are on formed trackways or roads, etc. There's no other discussion. I will move that paper and ask Josephine to second it, please.
Chair, yes, happy to second.
Kia ora, Josephine. Again, members confirm or otherwise that resolution in the usual way? Yes,
Aye.
thank you. Thank you for the indications.
Aye.
Kia ora. So that's approved. Takes us to item 6, Guy Fawkes Response Plan. Kia ora, Lee.
Kia ora. So as members will know, in the past few years leading up to last year's Guy Fawkes events, we had a number of fires across the Tūpuna Maunga. So the decision was made to close the Maunga last Guy Fawkes during the period that fireworks were on sale. It was actually a really successful operation, and we, for the first time in a number of years, have had no fires over that period of time. So we intend this year to roll out the same program of work, which is that the Maunga will be closed after 7:30 p.m. For that week that fireworks are on sale. We will have a security presence on site to assist with that. And for the week following, we'll also have security doing patrols and just keeping the Maunga safe over that period of time. We have learnt some lessons from the things that we've done last year and have bolstered the security presence on particular Maunga where it's been needed, and we'll just continue to monitor any issues daily as they come up. Happy to take any questions.
Surely, and acknowledging the importance of this mahi and the success of last year and the learnings from that, which are informing our approach for this year, but fundamentally taking that initiative to protect these taonga tukuiho and prevent those devastating fires that we've seen in the past. And again, like last year, there'll be a very widespread messaging set of activities just to make sure people are aware of that, including local signage. Just open it up for discussion. I'll move the paper, and if I could ask Zaylene to second the paper, please.
Ai tautoko.
Good, Zaylene. Can we have members approve or otherwise the paper, please?
Right.
Kia ora. Thank you. The paper is approved. The resolutions are approved. Takes us to item 7. Tūpuna Maunga planting update. This is the final one for this season in terms of the planting activities with the close of the planting season. And Jordan, do we have Jordan or Nick? Kia ora, Jordan.
Kia ora. I haven't lost my insanity. I just was a little bit bored and dyed my hair yellow. But that's beside the point. Tēnā tātou, just a short summary on the planning update report. So firstly, noting that the lockdown restrictions have limited what work can be undertaken during level 4, and so not a lot has been undertaken in the restoration planting since the last update was provided. Secondly, because of this lockdown, the remaining 2,923 plants that were scheduled to be planted on Te Parima Toho were not planted, and instead will be rescheduled for planting next planting season. And this is because we've already moved outside the optimal time for planting, especially on Maunga, where it already presents its own harsh planting conditions. And lastly, Lee mentioned it early in the hui, but that now, just noting that now planting maintenance has continued back on the Maunga during alert level 3, and contractors will be getting back onto the planting maintenance program. And just to answer your question, Tony, earlier, as Lee said, the full facilities program, we've asked them to flag when they are mowing on the Maunga and doing their rubbish rounds. We've asked them to flag any areas of concern with the plantings. And during my time, I've just been walking to my local Maunga, being Ohuiarangi and Maunga Day, and just having a look at the plantings there, and from nothing that I can see is concerning yet. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Jordan. You'll see when you get to the chat room, you've had a few bookings required for your new hairdressing skills, given the lockdown and people's lack of access to hairdressers. In all seriousness, and the important mahi, as we know, and we've seen that a number of the planting events have been affected by the COVID lockdowns, and so the team are very keen to continue that work as and when they can, and also to monitor the ongoing health of those plantings over the planting season. We'll open it up for discussion. Any questions?
I have a question, Paul.
Oh, kia ora.
Jordan, are the plants, the plants, is it the same plants next year, or are they just a bit bigger, or do you get a whole new, sorry, I wasn't clear of your answer. Is it the same plants, or is it new plants? Have we bought them and we store them and grow them on, or do we get a whole load of new ones?
Some of them will be the same plants that we ordered, but unfortunately not all native plants do well in their pots and in nurseries. So, and there will be some losses due to unforeseen circumstances that nurseries can't predict. So there will be, so we will have to order new plants for the nurseries.
Okay, what's the loss, do you know?
No, not from the top of my head, sorry.
Okay.
Kia ora, Aileen.
Kia ora. Jordan, it would be really good to have an understanding of the types of losses for the next report, maybe. A list of what plants aren't surviving. And is that just through drought? Is that through, they're not getting the right soils, whatever the case may be? You may not even know. They may not have that type of information, but it would be good to have an understanding and the numbers. Kia ora.
Well, kia ora, folks. I'll move this paper, and if I can ask Bernie to second it. Kia ora, Bernie, and just to note, Bernie's chat room, the kumara were amazing. So that's actually quite a good note for next season in terms of the program that the team have underway and the provision of hua whenua from the earlier hui. So can I have all those in favour of the resolution, please?
Aye.
Kia ora. Okay, thank you.
Aye.
Thank you. Takes us to this month's registers. So this month's colour is it cornflower blue. Attachment A is Health and Safety Register. We have five matters reported there. Nick, is there anything you want to add to the Health and Safety Register report?
Happy to take as read, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Do members have any questions, or is there any discussion on those matters that have been reported on for this month? Nick, the one for me is from which you touched on earlier on Maunga Wika. Was there any further information on the car incident? So at Maunga Whau?
No, not to my knowledge. We don't have any further information.
Okay.
I would make the point with regards just the person being angry at our staff member that we have followed that up with some media response. So there is some online as well as on the Maunga website, and just trying to get the message out about continuing to be kind to our staff while they're undertaking essential services.
Kia ora, Kathy.
Oh, thanks. Nick, you just answered my question. It was really just about that. People are a bit on edge after being in lockdown for so long, and I know that across council people are experiencing rude and aggressive behaviour, and so it was just to who among our contractors who are facing that at the moment. Are our staff, our Tūpuna Maunga Authority staff, on the Maunga at times as well, and how are we dealing with giving them tools to help?
Thanks for that, Kathy. So our staff are out in a very limited capacity. So more often than not, we're not out on the Maunga, but we would go out for particular jobs. For example, if we need to get a contractor in to do a job and they need, to open something, or on very limited occasions. So as far as I'm aware, none of our staff have actually been confronted, but there was an incident with a contractor. With regards to our own practices, a lot of our staff go through training, just throughout, talking about how they deal with people that have aggressive behaviour. And we deal with it and talk about it quite often as part of our internal team meetings, and look at strategies and the like. But yes, it is noted that at this time, it is a high stress environment. So part of it, I think, for staff is just that they are cognizant of it.
Yeah, and I'm fully supportive of. Sorry.
They're not. I was just going to say, more often than not, we've we have an empathetic view towards how people are feeling. So
Yeah.
we don't
I'm
just jump to a conclusion.
fully supportive of a media release reminding people to be kind.
That's a very good point, Kathy. Just checking if there's any other discussion on that, and if not, we also have attachment B, our events register. Unsurprisingly, those events were cancelled, so there's something to talk about there. And I've just checked the chat room. I think we're done there. So thank you, members. I need to pass the resolution for the register, so I'll move that. And could I ask Lamonga to second that, please?
Chair.
Kia ora Maunga. Again, can we have members approve the resolutions, please, in the usual way?
E tautoko.
Aye.
Kia ora. Thank you all for the hui. Again, stay safe. I hope you and the whānau are well. Get vaccinated if you haven't had that opportunity yet. And look forward to seeing you maybe in person for next month.